Today I want to talk about something that can feel uncomfortable for pastors to admit. Getting older, slowing down, retirement, changing priorities, and the growing desire to simply be near the people you love most.
Welcome to Pastors in Recovery, a podcast dedicated to ministry leaders and pastors navigating the challenges of their own hurts, hang-ups, and habits. Hosted by Jon Hammond, a grateful believer in Jesus Christ and a pastor on the road of recovery. This space is here to remind you that God's grace is bigger than any struggle. Each episode brings real stories of redemption, practical tools for healing, and encouragement rooted in Christ's promise of renewal. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Let's explore how God meets us in our brokenness and brings light to our darkest moments. Welcome to the conversation.
For a long time in ministry, life is about movement. You go where the calling is, you build, you lead, you sacrifice, you stay busy, you keep pushing forward because people need you. And when you're younger, that pace can feel exciting and meaningful. You believe you're changing the world, and maybe in many ways you are. But as life moves forward, something begins to shift inside you. As I've been getting older, I've noticed that some of the things I used to chase don't hold the same weight they once did. I still love God. I still care about ministry. I still care about helping people, but my heart has changed in some ways. These days, one of the things I measure most is being near my granddaughter, Ari. We call her Nug Nug sometimes, and honestly, if someday she moved far away, I know part of my heart would want to follow her. Years ago, I probably wouldn't have understood that feeling. In fact, if I'm being honest, I sometimes looked at older parents moving near their kids and grandkids and quietly judged it. I think part of me saw it as emotional dependence, or maybe people struggling to let go. I almost could hear the younger version of myself thinking, why do they keep following their kids everywhere? Why don't they just build their own life? But getting older has a way of softening your opinions. Because now I understand something I couldn't fully see back then. It wasn't weakness, it was love. It was wanting connection while there's still time left to enjoy it. And then I started realizing something else. My own parents did this. As ministry moved our family to different cities, my parents kept relocating nearby. And at the time, I don't think I fully appreciated what that meant. But now I understand it differently. I think they simply wanted to remain part of our lives. And honestly, many pastors don't fully understand older generations until they arrive there themselves. When you're younger, your focus is often on building something. When you're older, your focus slowly shifts towards holding on to what matters most. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time and every purpose under the heaven." And retirement can create a strange emotional tension for pastors because ministry is never just a job. For many of us, it becomes deeply connected to our identity. You spend years being the one people call, the one people depend on, the one people expect to have answers. And then one day you start wondering, who am I if I'm no longer leading at the same level? What happens if I'm no longer needed in the same way? What if my role changes? What if my purpose changes? Those questions can feel unsettling. But I've been thinking a lot lately about how purpose may not disappear with age. Maybe it simply changes form. Before we continue, I just want to take a quick moment to thank you for listening and being a part of this community. If this podcast has encouraged you or reminded you that you're not alone, I'd love to invite you to subscribe and leave a comment. That really does help us to reach more pastors, ministry leaders, and hurting people who need encouragement. If you'd like to support Pastors in Recovery, there's a link in the podcast description. Even a couple dollars a month helps us continue creating these episodes and reaching pastors walking through the recovery and healing. You can also find the music from this podcast by searching for Crashing Lyrics on Spotify, Apple Music, and other streaming platforms. All right, let's jump back in today's conversation. Psalm 92:14 says, "They will still bring forth fruit in old age, and they will be fat and flourishing." Maybe God still has meaningful assignments for us, but they look different than they did 30 years ago. When I was younger, purpose looked like sermons, meetings, counseling, leadership, and constant movement. Now purpose sometimes looks like slowing down enough to truly be present, listening longer, praying quietly, being emotionally available, investing in family, sharing wisdom instead of constantly proving yourself. Maybe purpose in later years is less about building platforms and more about building legacy. And I think some pastors feel guilty when their passions begin to change because maybe years ago your dream was growth, expansion, influence, and achievement, but now your dream is simpler. Peace, family dinners, time together, grandkids laughing in the other room, morning coffee without constant pressure, being emotionally present while there is still time. That doesn't mean your passion for God disappeared. It may simply mean your understanding of what matters has matured. Deuteronomy 6:6-7 says, "And these words which I command you this day will be in thy heart, and you will teach them diligently unto the children, and you will talk of them when thou sittest in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up." Notice how much of that happens during ordinary life, not on a platform, not during a conference, not behind a pulpit. It happens while sitting together, walking together, living life together. And maybe some of the deepest ministry we'll ever do happens in ordinary moments nobody applauds. A conversation at the dinner table, a prayer with a grandchild, a calm presence during family struggles, a life that quietly reflects kindness, steadiness, and faith. Those things matter deeply. I think one of the hardest things for pastors is realizing that every season of life cannot produce the exact same kind of fruit. Some seasons are for building, some are for planting, some are for carrying heavy responsibility, and some are for passing wisdom and love to the next generation. But all of those seasons matter. Titus 2:2-3 says, "The aged man be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in love, in patience. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becomes holiness, that they may teach the young." There is still purpose in older years. There's still influence, still wisdom, still ministry. It may just look quieter than it once did. I also think many pastors secretly fear becoming irrelevant. That's hard to admit out loud, especially after years of leadership. But maybe value was never supposed to come from how busy we stayed. Maybe faithfulness matters more than visibility. And maybe this season of life is not about God taking purpose away from you. Maybe it's about Him redirecting your heart toward the things you were too busy to fully notice before. I know for me personally, getting older has changed the way I see time. You begin realizing life moves quickly. Children grow up, friends age, bodies slow down, people you love won't always be there. And suddenly, presence becomes more important than performance. You stop needing to chase every opportunity. You start wanting to protect moments instead. And honestly, I don't think that's failure. I think it may be wisdom. So if you're a pastor listening today and you've been feeling conflicted because your priorities are shifting, because your dreams look different than they used to, because your heart longs more for family and peace than constant striving, I just want to encourage you, do not assume God is finished with you simply because your season looks different. A quieter season is not a meaningless season, and loving your family well may be one of the most important ministry you ever had.
I once chased the far horizons with fire inside my soul. I thought the work of heaven was measured by my goals. I carried dreams like banners. I preached with all my might. but now I see God's mercy in slower, softer light. There are seasons for the planting, seasons for the rain, seasons filled with sunlight, seasons touched by pain. And though the years have changed me, one thing still remains: the God who walks beside me through every season's change. The voices once were many, the schedules never ceased, but now I hear His whisper in quiet family peace. A grandchild's hand can teach you what sermons never could, that loving those beside you is holy, deep, and good. And if my strength grows weaker, and if my pace slows down, it doesn't mean He left me or took away my crown. For grace is not diminished when older saints grow still. Sometimes the truest ministry is simply loving well. There are seasons for seasons letting go, seasons God will use you in ways you may not know. And when my days grow weary, Lord, help my heart remain faithful to your calling through every season's change.
Remember, God meets us in our brokenness, and that's where the journey toward restoration begins.